to bring you back to the summer of 2000, back when I was young and wild and free. I know what you're thinking. I'm still pretty young, right? Thank you. I'm a little bit wild on occasion, and I tend to feel free, but this was something different. I had just come out of 2 months at the University of Oxford in their summer Shakespearean theatre program. And if you've ever seen Harry Potter, it was very much like that. We stayed at Balliol College, which actually is just 2 doors down from the college where they shot all the Harry Potter movies. And so after that, I was ready to break free from sonnets and Shakespearean iambic rhyming pentameter and ready to have some fun. And so when my high school girlfriend said, "Hey, do you want to go backpacking through Europe?" I said, "Yeah." And so when they said, "Do you want to go to Greece?" I said, "Yeah." And so all of a sudden we ended up in Greece, and we were traveling through the islands and having a great time, and we ended up on the island of Naxos. And it turns out that this was quite a popular place, so much so that we got one of the last tents in what was the place to be. So there were hundreds of tents sprawled out, and by the time we got all of our stuff in the tent and we were sweating our way through everything, we were ready for a drink. And they said, "All right, the bar's over there." So we go to this bar, but it was not a bar. It was this massive pool party that had this giant crane over top of the pool with hundreds of people surrounding it, looking up at it. And I was like, what is going on? And as I looked around, I realized, oh, it's not just a crane. It's an opportunity for people to go bungee jumping. Now, I like doing some crazy things. I've done some crazy things in my time, as Michelle shared. I've volunteered in Thailand. I've lived in Ashrams in India. I met a man, moved into his van, went apple picking in New Zealand for a year. Why not? But bungee jumping I hadn't done yet. And so when my girlfriend asked me if I would go with her to ask the guy who ran the bungee jumping thing, if he would give us a discount if we went topless, I started laughing. I was like, "You're that kind of girl." I'm not. But I went with her anyway. So we went up to the guy, and she was like, "Hi, would you give us a discount if we went topless?" She didn't quite sound so valley, but in any event, he said, "Listen, I would love to give you a discount, but if I gave a discount to every girl who asked me if they could get a discount if they went topless, I'd be out of business. But if you want to go naked, that's another thing." So I started laughing, and she got dead serious in the face, and she said, "I wouldn't, but you would. I dare you." Now, I've never turned down a dare in my life. So yeah, I've kissed boys in closets and played spin the bottle and dressed up in crazy costumes. I've even streaked the streets. But bungee jumping in Greece, naked in front of hundreds of people, that was taking it to a whole other level. By the time I actually thought about what was happening, she had already signed me down on the list, and apparently the only open slot they had was in half an hour from now. So I didn't even have enough time to have a drink or two to gain a little bit of Dutch courage. So all of a sudden, there I was, getting strapped into my ankles, into the whole suit and armor, and they were like, "Okay, well, if you're gonna go, sans clothes, you're gonna have to take them off." I was like, "Listen, I don't know if I'm totally ready for this." They're like, "Listen, you've signed up. Everyone knows what's gonna happen. You're going." So I said, "Well, can I at least take a towel up there with me?" And they said, "Okay." So I have this towel on, my ankles are strapped down, I get the harness going on through here. Now, I think it's just gonna be a really quick up, jump, down, nobody will know, out I go into my tent for the rest of my night, nobody will ever notice. Not so much, as it turns out, because before I even got all the way up, somehow word had spread through the crowd that there was a girl, a crazy one, no doubt, who was about to go bungee jumping naked in front of all of these people. My friends took crowd shots to prove it. So as I'm going up this crane, all of a sudden, the party's getting louder and louder. There's hooting and hollering and cheering, and all of a sudden, the platform stops. And the guy's like, "Okay, we're here. Go for it." "What do you mean, go for it?" He's like, "It's your time. You can jump. Let's do this." And I had a thought that went through my head in that moment. I actually had a few thoughts that went through my head at that moment. The first one was, I'm about to go bungee jumping. Oh my goodness. The second thought was, I'm about to be naked in front of all of these people. I wasn't sure what I was more afraid of in that moment. But then there was another thought that went through my mind. Sometimes you have things that are facing you in life that make you just a little bit uncomfortable. And you have a choice in that moment. You can try and get out of it. At that point, it was too late to go down, and everybody knew what was going on anyway. You can try and go through it as fast as possible and not actually connect to the moment, not be present, as Kwesi was saying, and just kind of move through, push on, and go on with your life. Or you could realize that you may never, ever have an opportunity to be in this moment again. And so you could say yes, and you could shimmy your way through your fear and decide to take the leap. And so that is exactly what I did. I said, okay, when am I ever going to be in front of all of these people in Greece about to be bungee jumping naked? So I said, I need a countdown. He was like, all right, I'll give you a countdown. By the time he got to 1, the entire crowd was involved in that countdown. I whipped off my towel, I did a little shimmy, and I jumped. And the first bounce, I was like, oh my goodness, I am bungee jumping. And the second bounce, I was like, oh my goodness, I am naked. There was some splashing, there was some water. I think I was so excited that I went all the way down and up. I think they let me bounce just a little bit longer than normal. I think it took a long time for them to grab that pole and pull me back in. Now, I really did think that I was just going to be able to inconspicuously go back in the crowd, find my friends, call it a night, and go home. Not so much, because when they finally got me in, I was behind the bar, behind the pool, and I had to go through an entire parade of people waiting for me with high fives and shots and arches that they had made with their hands, and I had to go through absolutely everybody. I didn't even find my friends. They finally found me and cajoled me out of that group. It was an experience, to say the least. Now, I need to get out of there as soon as possible. So that night, we left that area and in town, at least a half an hour away, and I thought, surely nobody will know. Oh, no. There were people in the street that stopped me and said, oh, that was you. That was you today who went bungee jumping. Oh, my goodness. Now, all I can say is that thank goodness that was way before the days of social media, because I don't think I would ever have lived that down, even though I'm now choosing to share this story in front of a room of all of you. But it taught me that there are going to be moments in life where you're a little scared, you're a little uncomfortable, and you're not sure whether or not you should have said yes to that dare after all. But every moment in life is an opportunity for learning and growth. And there is always a lesson to be learned. And as we heard tonight from all of the amazing speakers, these lessons have the opportunity to actually change the trajectory of your life. So as Martha shared, one day at a time. Go after your dreams and get better every day. As Mike shared, sometimes you gotta open that big door and grab a seat in the front row. Don't tell me, Joseph shared, sometimes you just got to realize that life is short and you got to take a leap of faith. As Sajan shared, sometimes you just got to be the good guy and ask yourself, what is the legacy that I'm going to leave, and who is the person that I want to be? And as Kwesi so eloquently shared, sometimes when you actually take a moment to be present in the moment, that's when you'll find your purpose, and that presence and philanthropy is the answer pretty much to everything. And sometimes when you're about to face your fear and do something that makes you a little bit uncomfortable, you gotta just say yes, shimmy your way through that fear, and take the leap. Thank you.